So Attack on Titan coming in, a more action-focused episode, which some of the action junkies are gonna be just very excited for. But what I really appreciate is how they do the flashbacks and how they pan back to it, like in the manga, showing the backstory of when Annie and them were training and how Annie taught Eren this ability to kind of flip one over, use your strength to flip them, so it doesn't matter if you're fighting a very strong opponent, if you use their own weight against them, you can do it. But what I really like about it the most is because if you go back and watch Season 1 now, knowing who the Armored and Colossal Titan is, those comments, like even that Annie mentions to Mikasa saying, this is a technique not used for humans, let's see what kind of a beast you are and if I can use it against you. Which is, there's multiple comments like, now that you know Annie and Reiner as well as Bertolt are the Titans. However, if you go back and watch Season 1 with the knowledge of who the Colossal and Armored Titan is, there's constant facial expressions and comments that you never noticed, but really do give you red flags of, oh, that's a really big red flag if you actually know. And Isayama, the mangaka for Attack on Titan, literally does this throughout the entire arcs. Like, there isn't one arc that there isn't constant foreshadowing for future events. And one thing I want to bring up is I have seen this mentioned, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I have read the manga, but I'm not going to spoil anything in terms of Eren's Titan or anything like that. But even if you haven't read the manga, you should understand why Eren is at a disadvantage fighting the Armored Titan. It's not because Eren's Titan is weaker. It could be weaker. However, the main difference is Eren hasn't had his Titan form for that long. He hasn't used his Titan form that much. What you saw in Season 1 and Season 2, in both flashbacks and on-screen, the only time he's ever been in a Titan form is when you saw it. He hasn't been non-stop day after day, trying to figure out his abilities. There was a time when they were supposed to do that, and then the female Titan kind of ruined all the plans. He hasn't used his Titan form that much. He's inexperienced with it. He doesn't know its full capabilities. All he has is his hand-to-hand combat from people like Annie who taught him. However, the Armored Titan knows his full capabilities, so that's why he knows how to use the entire armor functionality, get rid of some of the armor so he can move more freely, and that goes the same for the Colossal Titan. Both of them know their limits and strength. Eren doesn't yet because he's still new to his form. So he's not at a disadvantage because his Titan form's weaker, he's inexperienced in his Titan form. However, that doesn't make him weak, and he does beat the Armored Titan. He literally does beat him. The only reason he doesn't fully win and rip off his head is because Reiner was able to move to the spot so the Colossal Titan could fall down and get to them. That's the only reason that he didn't fully win. So yes, you could call it a loss. He didn't fully win, but he was able to overcome the Armored Titan's strength without even knowing the full capabilities of his Titan. And then you also see why the Colossal Titan didn't fully transform. He was sitting up there, he was being a decoy, so if shit hit the fan, the Colossal Titan could come in without anyone expecting it. But, it's brilliant how they choreographed the fight and how everything worked, playing back on the martial arts that Annie taught Eren and the others, and even using some of the techniques that Reiner himself taught Eren against him. It's amazing to see just kind of characterization and just development and how pissed off and broken Eren is. A lot of people bash Eren as a main character, and yes, I have read the manga up to the newest chapter, so I do know more about Eren as a character than some of the anime-onlys, but even if you look at what Eren is and what he's fighting for, he's more complex of a character than a lot of people give him. He's not just, I'm gonna kill all the Titans for the sake of killing all the Titans. He has a reason for that. He literally witnessed his mother die at the hands of it, and also the ones that he was closest with, the ones that he thought he could look up to, now it has been realized that, oh, they were just lying to me this entire time, so they probably didn't even care about me. Everything about Eren as a character, the more you progress with the series, the more you see with his mentality, and the more you see him grow. He's actually a very well-written character. It's just, at the very beginning, he may seem kind of shallow and very typical, because literally Season 1 is just the prologue. This is the first main crazy arc of the series, and it just gets more crazy from here with more development and twists. The animation is something I want to mention, because I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan that the Colossal Titan is in CG more times than not. Now, not always. Sometimes they do draw him in 2D. However, it's not a big issue to me, because actually the way they blend 3D and 2D with the Colossal actually doesn't look that odd, because a lot of times the art style used for CG on top of 2D just feels very different than the actual 2D backgrounds and drawings, and yes, you can tell it's CG. However, the way they blend it and the way it moves, it doesn't look jarring whatsoever. There's a couple of moments off and on where you're like, I would have preferred that to be 2D, but we know about the animator shortage in Japan. We know how just hard it is to make anime, especially something as action heavy as Attack on Titan, and they didn't put, you know, Eren or even the Armor Titan in CG at all, nor did they put the characters in the 3D maneuver gear. So to have just one character who's very slow and kind of sluggish be the 3D, that's not a big deal, and they went above and beyond to make the 3D merge with the 2D very well, so I can't fault them for that. I would have preferred it to be 2D, and it's just not a huge issue because it looks rather good compared to a lot of 3D CGI, and who knows what they'll do in the Blu-rays. But overall, this was a fantastic episode. I think still the adaptation accuracy is beautiful. I mean, they could completely change it. They don't have to follow the manga for me to enjoy it, but it is a one-for-one adaptation, so for those who want that one-for-one adaptation, you're going to be happy there. But I really like how they're playing back. They're not just, we just have to keep showing people, you know, characters throwing a punch. Instead, let's flash back when it's important to show this is where Eren got this move. This is why Eren is so pissed at this moment, flashing back to the first moment that he really talked with Reiner and Bertolt when they were teaching him how to balance, because back in season 1, he had a faulty balance mechanism in his gear and he kept failing and he couldn't stand up in the training, so he has them help him, and that's the conversation that we flash back to. I love how they're using flashbacks for an important thing, and they're not, I know some people are like, oh, I just want to see the action. The flashbacks are important, especially when you see the Annie situation, and yes, Annie versus Mikasa, and the whole, like, and the whole Mikasa throwing Reiner because she does not like seeing Annie touch up on her man like that. Absolutely loved it. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Did you love the episode? Did you hate it? Or do you think it was just okay? And what do you think for Anime Originals? What's going to happen in next week's episode? Before you leave, please be sure to like the video to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.